Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jay, back at you with a video I've been trying to shoot for a while, man. I tried to shoot this on Friday, and then again on Saturday, and then again on Sunday, and now I'm shooting it today because I wanted to shoot this. I had a shot list for it, I had a script for it, I had everything set up, and I wanted to do it on Saturday, but I spent all day crying and reflecting, and I was gonna say eating fast food, but I actually didn't do that this time, and it's part of the reason for this video. So for those of you who don't know, this past Saturday was the 12th anniversary of my mother passing away. My mother passed away when I was 13 years old to a drug overdose, and this was the first, I guess, anniversary that we celebrated without one of my sisters. My sister Sierra, she was 19, passed away on May 2nd of this year. And like I said, this is the first time that we've done it without her. So it's a little different this time. And because of the, the situation, it just handled it a little differently. And I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself through the weekend, and I've learned a lot about myself over the last, 2 months, and especially 12 years, after my mom passed away. And I just want to share 'em, man. I want to start this series called Talking to Myself Siri. Hey Siri, you should go check out my Instagram if you haven't seen my Hey Siri video at Deshaun Jason. I'll put it. I can't pay an editor yet, so one day I'll link below. Also arm jiggle. Did you see that? That was crazy. Anyway, I've been trying to make this video, man. This video series called Talking to Myself because I learned a couple things this weekend, man. I learned that above all things, which I'll get into, I learned two things. I don't talk about enough what I've been through and what I've learned. And not only do I think that's a disservice to me, but I also think it's a disservice to the millions of people, because that's what I'm going to say, because, I think it's a disservice to the millions of people that I could help, because I've been through some real stuff, man. And the people who are close to me know that. I know that. I've learned a lot. The people who have been, I'll say, blessed enough to learn some of those lessons, we're all blessed, and I just want to start sharing them. Part for myself, because some of you may know this. I love posting my life on the internet. It helps me work through my emotions in ways that other things don't. You know what I mean? Sometimes journaling works, sometimes therapy works, sometimes it doesn't for me. And sometimes talking to a camera and posting on the internet for people to comment and judge works. As messed up as that might be. So I'm going to start doing this part for myself, but also because, like I said, I think I can help millions of people out there one day, man, with my story and the things that I've learned. So yeah, I'm going to start doing that, with the two biggest things being what I've learned and what I've been through. And really it's because, like, something that I learned when I got this job, when I started in Arizona and I started meeting people that weren't from, South Mississippi. I was also learning this in Colorado. I lived in Colorado for a year and a half before I came to Phoenix, and I'm originally from South Mississippi, for those of you who don't know. A lot of people have been saying to me, something I've learned is a lot of people have been saying to me that they don't understand where my passion comes from. And if you don't know, you might not be able to tell right now because I'm post 3-day cry and it's Monday and a little tie sweepy. But you may not be able to tell, I'm passionate as hell about the things that I'm passionate about, man. And one of the biggest things that I'm passionate about is esports. I started the esports club or program, I guess you could say, at Mississippi State. I didn't found it, but it was handed to me, and I found it in its current form, grew it from 30 students to 800 students in a year and a half, dropped out of school, did all kinds of stuff while I was there, got a billboard, started the Esports Egg Bowl, secured Coca-Cola as a sponsor. I did all kinds of stuff while I was there. As you can imagine, it turned into a lot of other things for me. I got to work for Coca-Cola. I got to work for EA Sports. I ran the first ever collegiate Madden tournament ever. I've done work for Cheez-Its. I've done work for Brown University. I've done tournaments for Minnesota, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, you name it. I've probably done it in the world of college esports and or esports. As you can imagine, that led to a lot of, I guess, opportunity for me as a young person. And I followed that path all the way to becoming the youngest college esports director in the United States at 22 years old. I've been in this position for about 3 years, and yeah, I was that when I got here. Everybody says to me when they see me doing my work, and you probably just heard a little bit of it, that they love my passion. They just wonder where I get it from, because you're so young, but you're not that young, and you're so good looking, but that can't be why you're in such a good mood. It can't be. Everybody wonders where all the passion comes from. And I've been wondering why people don't understand that, because some of you know, I have two hearts on my sleeves. I have two hearts on my sleeves because I'm a sensitive guy, bro. I've always been a sensitive guy. People that grew up with me know that. People that know me know that. People that I share with know that, which is what I'm going to get into. What a lot of people don't understand, or what a lot of people don't know, is why, right? That's what they say. They don't know why I get it from or where I get it from. And it's because I don't tell them. That's what I've learned. I don't tell people where my passion comes from. And yeah, I believe in myself, and yeah, I love video games, and yeah, all those, great, what I say is like fairy godmother things, you know what I mean? That like everybody says, like, love yourself or find a job you love. Like, that's cool. But the fact of the matter is, I'm passionate about esports because this, and it's hard for me to say, and so are a lot of things that me and you get into during this video series. The fact of the matter is, why I'm so passionate about esports is because sports used to be what I was passionate about. And I used to be passionate about sports as a kid because, like a lot of kids, that's what was going to save my mother's life. You know what I mean? And I remember being 8, 9, 10 years old and sitting down with my mom and doing floor plans with her and talking about the house I was going to buy her when I signed my first MLB contract, and I played baseball growing up. And I remember doing floor plans with my mother and telling her, like, this is what I'm going to get you, and this is where we're going to put the bedroom, and this is where we're going to put the office. And when my mom passed away, bro, I don't want to do sports anymore. You know what I mean? I only did sports to save my mom. And once my mom was gone, I didn't have any reason to do it. But something that I remembered through the grieving process of my mother was that she believed in me, and she wanted me to believe in myself. You know what I mean? And so after I got done being mad at the world, after my mother passed away, I remembered that. And I started believing in myself, and I started thinking about what I actually wanted to do, because I knew sports wasn't it. And I'm going to be real with y'all. I've always been good at school, and I'm going to get into that later, because I was so good at school that in second grade, they was trying to put me in sixth grade. True story. I can talk about all the tests and shit they used to do, but I don't want to get into it today. I might, though. I done lost my train of thought. But school was never, sorry, I got distracted. School was never it for me. And I knew that, as I started thinking about what was next as a sophomore, junior, and senior, I knew school wasn't going to be for me. I knew I didn't want to go to school. I had a best friend of mine who was going through the school thing. You know what I mean? He went to early college, he went to community college, then he went and got his degree. Now he works for Amazon. You know what I mean? And I seen that, and it's cool, and I respect it for a lot of people, especially for him, because he's done some really cool stuff in his life, and I love that for him. You know what I mean? But I always knew that wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I always knew that, okay, well, when my mom passed away, I'm probably not going to do sports, and I don't really like school that much, even if I'm good at it. You know what I mean? It's just not something I really like doing. It's actually, school bored me because I figured out the systems of school. I won't get too deep into the school thing right now, but I didn't like school because it bored me, because I figured out how to play school like a system rather than do school. So I just didn't like school. And because I knew I didn't like school, and because I knew I didn't want to do sports, I started thinking about, well, what do I want to do? And video games was the only thing that I could come up with. And so basically everybody in my life, including my parents, include a lot of family, everybody, bro. I don't think there was a single person besides Sarah. I don't think there was a single person who believed in me the whole time. I don't think, and at this point, I don't know if I blame you, because it's crazy to say at 18 years old, at 16 years old, you want a career in video games. That's wild. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm not mad at y'all, but, I remember when I came out and decided I wanted to do gaming, nobody was supporting me, man. Nobody supported me while I was in college. Nobody supported me when I dropped out. And I was real passionate about it, because the one passion that I had before was taken from me, right? It was sports, and it was my mother, and it was sports for my mother, and that was taken from me. And then one day I remembered, right, who I was and who my mother made me. You know what I mean? It made me as, and saw me as, and I believed in myself. And there was a lot of people along the way who doubted me, you know what I mean? And I turned that doubt, and I turned my mother's, the pain related to my mother, into passion. You know what I mean? I turned it to what a lot of people call today passion. You know what I mean? And you can call it passion if you want, but I call it pain. I call it pain and doubt. You know what I mean? Y'all call it passion. I call it pain and doubt, So that's something that I've learned, you know what I mean? And not only have I learned that we got different definitions for passion and pain and those things, right? But I've also learned that a lot of y'all don't know that, because I don't tell you. You know what I mean? I don't come out saying like, oh, well, it's kind of a party killer, you know what I mean? To be at the bar and be like, oh, yeah, well, the reason why I'm so passionate is, yeah, my mom died. That's kind of, you know, I'm not trying to fuck up the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, it's not wrong of me to talk about it. You know what I mean? But also, like, I don't know if everybody's trying to hear about that all the time. You know what I mean? So very often I choose not to speak on it because I'm not trying to put y'all through what I've been through. You know what I mean? So, but I could do a better job, not only for myself, but also for other people to understand me and maybe themselves through telling them things like that. And something else, you know, I kind of learned is that, bro, I've been through a lot, dog. And like, bro, what I'm about to say is like something that Sarah's been making me, she been gearing me up, bro. She ain't making me do shit. I've been wanting to do this shit. She's just finally making me do what I say I want to do. Something, bro, that I was telling her about was why I view what I've been through the way that I do. And I've told a lot of people this, and they've told me to stop doing this, but I do it anyway because I think it's the truth, but it's not. But I'm gonna try to get it out. A lot of what I've been through, right, bro? I've been through a lot, dog. Something I don't talk about a lot to help you understand what I've been through. When I was 10, bro, I think I was 10 because this is a whole thing, but my life was so kind of rocky, I guess you could say, from like 13 and before, that I don't really remember a lot of it. I've gone to therapy about it, and it actually has to do with like PTSD and some of the other conditions that I have that we'll get into. But it's got to do with trauma and the way that child's brains choose to, I guess, like forget about things selectively. And so I don't remember a lot. So sometimes when I say ages or dates, y'all might catch me being wrong because sometimes my brain, I literally can't remember. But all that to say, I remember being a kid before 13 years old. And I'll never forget, I was at school. I was in middle school, I think. And we get pulled to the office. It was not normal for us. I was good in school. I played sports. I was not the checkout type. My parents were not the checker-outer types. And I remember they pulled us out of class. Someone was on the phone. And they were telling us that our parents were coming to pick us up. Shit, all right, cool. I mean, we're going home? That sounds good to me. Kind of find out, it was my grandparents that picked us up. A lot of you may not know this, but my grandparents actually raised me. I got a whole crazy family situation. But my grandparents actually raised me for most of my life, bro. For most of my life. There was a small period of time where I would get to be with my mom, or small periods of time where I would get to be with my mom and or my dad. But for the most part, my grandparents raised me. And during this period of time, though, I was with my mother, like fully. And my grandparents were on the phone, and they just told us they were coming to get us. And that was it. So we're just hyped. We're going to get some ice cream. We're going out with Nana and Papa. You know, the grandparents, we're finna eat good. You know what I mean? We're about to live. You know what I mean? We're getting checked on a Monday. Life is good. Come to find out, we're driving back home. Obviously, I can feel like the vibe in the car. You know what I mean? And something's not right. You know, I'm gonna lower a little bit so I'm not hunching so much. Something's not right. And so I asked my parents. If it's something about me, I'm always ask. A lot of people know that, but if it's something about me, I'm always going to ask. I'm okay with hearing no or shut up, but I'm going to ask. And so I asked my parents what was up, and they told me at that time, like I said, I was 8, 9, 10 years old, bro. They told me that my mother owed some people some money. For those of you who don't know, my mother had me at 16 years old from South Mississippi, in and out of addiction issues, in and out of Alcohol Anonymous. Sorry, I couldn't think of the AA meaning. In and out of like alcohol rehabilitation, in and out of all kinds of therapy services and outhouses, halfway homes, all kinds of stuff. My mom was on the streets, to put it simply, for 10 plus years. And she had a home environment, by the way, but she was outside, you know what I mean? And my mom owed some people some money, and they gave her 2 options. You can give us everything you own, or we can kill your kids. And so lucky for me that everybody decided that they wanted to save us. And it really, just so you know, they didn't have to make that decision. The people actually came looking for me and my sister, because we were the only kids alive at the time. They came looking for us and we weren't there. So my parents told me that they stole everything that we owned out of our trailer. When I was, like I said, 10-ish years old. I can't really remember. But when I was about 10 years old, man, I found out that everything that I owned was gone. You know what I mean? Because of decisions that my mother was making unrelated to me. You know what I mean? And had I been there, I might not be alive. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know that about me, because I don't really share it, because my opinion, and this is what I was saying about Sarah and everybody else, is, you know, what I say about what I've been through is like, listen, my mother passed away. I lost a lot as a kid, right? I've learned a lot because of the things that I went through as a kid. But bro, I'm at the potential expense of seeming insensitive, which I am not, by the way. I've just always kind of understood, bro, that like, yeah, my mom passed away, but so does everybody's mom. You know what I mean? At some point, everybody's mom dies. That's normal. That's actually quite normal. It's not normal if it's the opposite way, right? If you're burying your child, that's not normal, you know? But I always kind of felt like, okay, well, everybody's mom's died. Like my mom just died early. You know what I mean? And that sucks, and I've had to go through a lot, but like, why should I tell everybody and make it a big deal if one day everybody's mom's going to be dead? You know what I mean? That's how I've always felt, or made sense of it in my head. The other thing, bro, and that I was talking about with being insensitive is like, bro, people get bombed to death. There are people being bombed to death right now, bro. There are people hiding under rocks, praying to whoever they believe in, hoping that they don't get bombed to death. You know what I mean? And like, sure, I've dealt with crazy situations like the one I talked about. Sure, my mother passed. You know what I mean? Sure, I grew up in South Mississippi. You know what I mean? But like, bro, I don't know nothing about what people go through in the Middle East. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing about what people who look like me in Africa go through. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing about the people in the Congo. You know, I don't know nothing about those lives. So a lot of the reason why I've like not talked about what I've been through is because I don't feel like it's not that it's not that big of a deal, but it's just when you zoom out, you know what I mean? When you zoom out, how big are your problems really? You know what I mean? And like, I've learned that that's just unfair to me, and obviously unfair to other people, because like, it's not fair to compare. Everybody knows that. I need to take my own advice. I know. But man, I've been trying to do that. You know what I mean? I've been trying to take my own advice. I've been trying to share a little bit more about what I've been through. And I've been trying to, because of what I've been through, I've been trying to share more about what I've learned. You know what I mean? And that's what all this is. So all that to say exactly what I came here to say in the first place, which is this is a new series called Talking to Myself, where I'm going to do exactly this. I'm going to get on this camera. I'm going to try my hardest to look in here because I really like staring off in the distance, because it's just, it's so easy to think when I'm staring off in the distance. But I'm gonna try to talk to you. It's gonna be me and you right here, and we're gonna talk about me for the most part. And over time, it'll turn into, I'm sure, different stories from you guys, different things that you guys have learned. And who knows? Maybe we'll do guests one day. Who knows? But for now, it's about me, and it's gonna be about the things that I've learned and about the things that I've gone through. So if you like that, look for weekly. Yeah, I think that's what we decided. And by we, I mean me and the however many voices in my head, which you guys will hear about too. So if you like that, stick around. Hit the sub button or the follow button or the like button or the comment below. Boom. When I have an editor one day, we're going to put this clip next to another clip, and we're going to talk about how funny it is that I didn't have an editor, or now how I have an editor. Almost stuttered there. I would have had to do this all over again. Okay. That's it. And be here next Monday, talking to myself, part 2. Thank you for being here. I love you. Stay motivated. Be you. Keep growing. Later, y'all.